Well, I think one of the big things that struck me in the beginning, because we always made that connection between reading and writing and how those kind of tie together, but I had never thought about looking at illustrations and using those within kids' work to help improve their writing or work with them on their writing. And so I think that kind of clicked for me, similar to how the connection between reading and writing is. She specifically had examples of authors and books that she had used for mentor texts with classes about showing, depth perception. And the one student's illustration of the hot air balloon with the fence.
That was phenomenal. The perspective that kid used in terms of the balloons and where the balloon was, and it was far away and close up and halfway off the page.
Right.
Yeah.
And even the fencing where, some of the kids were standing on the fence and it was the back of their heads and, holding hands with the parents. And, I think, like we were talking about, using that information that a child brings to the table, that kind of encounter and perspective, and then being able to put that into their writing and help use that was really exciting. That's something that kids already bring to the table. I shouldn't say they always do, but I know we'd also talked about trying to tie this in with our art teacher at school and getting some of that developed to kind of emphasize where their strengths might be and being able to use that then within our own classroom writing.
Yeah. It's hard to give up time for writing and allow illustration. It's hard to see that as valuable.
We talked about that too within the writer's workshop, is that your focus is on a quick sketch. It's on a quick sketch, and then on you go, just to kind of refresh your memory of what your thoughts were. And so that's kind of making a shift now into letting kids develop these pictures and develop their illustrations then to enhance their writing.
And my struggle is, if they spend 2 days on an illustration, am I okay with that?
Right.
Well, a lot of things. Definitely looking at reading in a kind of a new way, but then the biggest thing was we saw Katie Woodray doing she was available to do a class about her new book, and in pictures and in words, and she talked about how illustrations are so important for young writers and and actually for older writers too, but to get them thinking about their stories and things like that. So that I wanted to get that book right away, and actually I think I took a break. When we had a break, I ran and got the book during that time. But so I've been really excited because it's been my goal this summer to kind of read that book. In my classroom, I hope to make writing just the most enjoyable experience for them, and I think a lot of my kids last year just want to do so much illustrations and I felt I kind of pushed them too hard into adding words into their stories, only because they were able to do that. A lot of them were able to hear the sounds and words and things. So I don't know. I think I pushed them away from illustrations and more into writing. Which, if I had left them in illustrations, I think when they told me their stories and they had a whole bunch of illustrations at the beginning of the year, they had so much more to their story, so much more information that I was getting from them in their stories. So I don't know, just kind of interested in seeing how her perspective on using more pictures and more illustrations in their writing, and then going from there with adding maybe words here and there, and then adding sentences later on. So. Well, in kindergartners, especially the younger kids, I shouldn't say just kindergartners, but that's who I'm working with, they love books. They have this love for reading, and they are so excited to hear stories read to them. They're so excited to read stories, and I think giving them paper and saying, let's make a book, as opposed to let's write a story is a little bit different. I think that maybe they'll have more desire to like really get in there and put all the details and things that they can into their illustrations, and then eventually get into adding sentences in there. So I think forming it in that way would definitely be exciting.